Chapter 33. I am not what you supposed, but far different. Walt Whitman. Cleve Bo scraped his shoes on home plate like a horse pawing in place. He hit the dust from his feet with his bat. He spit. He swung the bat across the plate 3 times. I'm ready, he announced, Mikey McCrae. Give me your best shot. No outs, twiddled Finesse. Let's get a hit, pretty please. Can it, Francis. I'm trying to concentrate, growled Cleve Bo. Mikey McCrae gazed over the top of his glove and nodded his head in agreement with his catcher. He narrowed his eyes and reared back on his right leg, lifted his left, pulled back his right arm, and flung a curve at Cleve Bo that was high and outside. Hey, batter, 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 swing! Screamed the Redbugs outfield, and Cleve Bo swung. Swing and a miss, boomed Dr. Dan. Then, swing and a miss, strike 2. Cleve Bo stepped out of the batter's box and spit on his hands. He rubbed them together, stepped back in, and nodded to Mikey McCrae. Take it easy, Cleve Bo, yelled House. Just meet the ball. Mikey McCrae and Cleve Bo's eyes each other. Mikey hiked up his pants, chucked the ball into his glove a few times, rolled his shoulders, spit, and he was ready. He checked in with his catcher, nodded, and threw a fastball straight across the plate. Cleve Bo clobbered the ball. It went up and up and up, and Cleve Bo ran and ran and ran. The crowd was on its feet screaming. Cleve Bo slid into first. He's out, yelled Dr. Dan. And when the dust cleared, everyone could see Redbug right fielder Curtis Ragsdale standing on tiptoe at the edge of the Methodist cemetery, his back plastered against Marie Kilgore's tall obelisk of a gravestone, his arms stretched to the heavens, holding Cleve Bo's ball in the top of his mitt. Cleve Bo leaped to his feet in disbelief. It was a homer! It was a homer! The Redbug fans screamed their delight. Even the All-Star fans had to holler their congratulations. It was a beautiful catch. 3 outs. That's the inning, called Dr. Dan, breathless himself with the excitement of it all. Top of the 9th, Finesse sobbed into her microphone. She had lost all sense of decorum. House groaned. No way was he going to be able to get back out there. Great hit, Cleve Bo, the All-Stars cried as Cleve Bo ran across the field toward the bench. That's my boy, hollered Pete Wilson as Cleve Bo passed his family's picnic basket. Mary Wilson was in the green room. Pete stood up, clapped for his son. Cleve Bo stopped and stared at his father. Streaks of dust ran in little rivers down his face, where his tears carried them. You heard me, said his father. Nobody can take that hit away from you, son. Cleve Bo sniffed. He wiped his nose with the back of his hand. Now hold your head up, offered his father. Go to work. Redbugs fans cheered for Curtis. All-Star fans mobbed Cleve Bo. House and Finesse exchanged a look that told Finesse all she needed to know about House's arm. She took matters into her own hands. S'il vous plaît, cried Finesse, as if she had a sudden inspiration. I have forgotten the most important number. It is coming to me as we speak. She twirled up the stage steps, plucked the microphone out of its stand, and began to sing Beautiful Dreamer a cappella. This is completely unscheduled, said Melba Jane. The All-Stars understood what Finesse was doing. Is it time, Cleve Bo? Asked Boone. It's time, said Cleve Bo, easily distracted, completely recovered, and totally changed. He gestured to the All-Stars. All right, it's time. And while Doc McCrae iced House's arm, the rest of the ball players rushed to the stage just as Finesse finished her song. But you don't come on until the end of the game, Finesse said. We've got us a plan too, Cleve Bo said. And to the crowd he shouted, We got tights! From their pockets, the Aurora County All-Stars pulled their flowered tights. They dangled them from their fingertips like streamers, and then pulled them onto their heads and wore them like stocking caps under their baseball caps, which made their eyebrows bunch above their eyes like woolly worms. They laughed themselves silly while the crowd roared its approval, and House rested his elbow. Let me see it, said Doc McCrae. He wrapped the elbow in a towel and began patting it dry. "We've been rehearsing our own number," said Cleve Bo from the stage. He had changed into a pair of crispy pressed blue jeans. "I give up," said Melba Jane. She tossed her clipboard onto the stage. "Cleve Bo Wilson!" Mary Wilson crossed her arms from where she stood next to a platter of fried chicken on her picnic basket. Cleve Bo crossed his arms and stared defiantly at the Queen Poobah of Mamas. "Bravo! Bravo!" thundered Dr. Dan from behind home plate. "An innovation in the midst of our conglomeration." "Bravo!" called Finesse into her microphone. Mary Wilson smiled a smile as wide as the Mississippi River, and she considered her good fortune. Her boy was on stage in a starring role, and his pants looked great. House exchanged a look with his father and shrugged. "I don't know what they're doing." "Hit it!" yelled Cleve Bo. The Harmony Cornet Band struck up their rendition of "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and the boys sang it at the top of their lungs, swaying back and forth. They held up peanuts, they held up Cracker Jacks. Then, in a moment of real spontaneity, Cleve Bo shouted, "This one's for the mamas!" Following his lead, the boys danced the second verse. Their arms ballooned like ballerinas. They stood on their toes. They twirled. They swung at 3 strikes you're out. And they ran into one another until they had a 7-boy pileup on their hands and so much laughter they couldn't breathe. House shook his head. He might have laughed if his arm felt as if it weren't going to come off of his shoulder, the elbow, the wrist. "That's my boy!" screamed Mary Wilson. The mamas were on their feet, hugging one another, peering at Dr. Dan to see if he was taking notes. Doc McCrae laughed so hard he got carried away unwrapping House's arm. "Ow!" "Sorry." The boys received a roll-licking standing ovation. The redbugs laughed and pointed. Finesse clapped and bowed deeply in the boys' direction. The boys bowed back. The ovation rang in House's ears as he watched Doc McCrae finish with his arm. He winced as the last stretch was finished. "We're still going to beat you, redbugs," shouted Cleve Bo. "You just try," yelled redbug catcher Jerry Bruner. And the 2 teams were back to their benches, collecting their gloves, balls, bats, and resolve. Leonard Jackson tugged on the brim of House's baseball cap. He handed him his sunglasses. "I know it hurts." House shook his head. "It's not bad." He shoved on his sunglasses. It was bad. Even with the little time Cleve Bo had bought them, he wouldn't last the inning. There was no way they could hold the redbugs to no runs in the 9th. His arm was done. It was dead as a door now. He told no one.